there are some really big name players in the league, and it's not just basketball. We're talking about basketball right now, but it's in general. There's some really big players in every league, but you have to ask yourself, one, what is the value of that player? Two, does the value or does the price tag that they're asking for justify you paying that price tag? That doesn't mean that the price tag is too high. That doesn't mean the price tag's too low. That means, are you willing to pay it? And the thing about value is this. Value is different for everybody. One player might be valued on one team more than another team. One player might bring less value here, but bring more value there. Value is not just a set thing. You have to understand what the value is for you. And what do I mean by this? What am I starting off my show talking about? So it looks like reports have come out saying that at first reports were coming out because the Utah Jazz traded Rudy Gobert. They were saying that Donovan Mitchell at this point is not going to be traded, not going to request a trade. They don't want to. They're going to try to move on with Donovan Mitchell. But of recent days, and now it looks like he is available for trade. And one of the teams that that has been rumored to get Donovan Mitchell is the New York Knicks. Again, when you make a trade, when a trade is proposed, when you're trying to make a trade, you have to figure out what is the value of the person that you're making a trade for. What do I mean by that? I'll give you a great example. We've been talking about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, right? We've been talking about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving since free agency started, or since the offseason started, since the offseason started, stories of Kyrie, and it's been a lot. But let's just look at Kyrie. Kyrie Irving's value is different for multiple teams. And at this point, in my opinion, Kyrie Irving's value is highest for two teams, Brooklyn in LA. Actually, let me flip that around. LA first, then Brooklyn. Kyrie's value isn't going to be the same for Golden State than it is for LA. That doesn't mean Kyrie's not a good player. It just means that the Lakers value him more than Golden State would, than Portland would, than teams that maybe have a top-tier point guard. Let's get back to this Donovan Mitchell, New York Knicks situation. Well, let's first, why? Let's first talk about why Utah is deciding to let go or is open to letting go of their young star player in Donovan Mitchell. When you're going in a rebuild, when a team's going in a rebuild, they usually want to go into a full rebuild. And what I mean by that is, yes, you want to have some good players. Yes, you want to have some talent on the roster, but you don't want to be too good. I'm not a fan of rebuilds. I'm not a fan of tanking. I'm not a fan of any of that, but that's what teams do. You see that with OKC. OKC, you realize you lost Kevin Durant. You realize you lost Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony. So you went to full rebuild. You have some good young pieces. You have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You have Josh Giddey. Now you have Chet Holmgren. You have all the picks in the world. That is a rebuild gone right. Not saying that they're still in rebuild process to me, but they're getting better year after year after year. Of course, rebuilds, you can rebuild solely through the draft. You can rebuild through trades. When you're rebuilding, you want to go full throttle. You're going straight at it. And you saw the signs. I mean, shouts out to the meme going around the world at this point with Brian Windhorst. He saw it. You saw the makings of a full rebuild in Utah when they gave away Royce O'Neal, which was one of their most important players. Joe Ingles isn't there anymore, which has been one of their most important players. When you trade a Rudy Gobert, now, yes, you got a big package for him, but when you trade Rudy Gobert, and now you have Donovan Mitchell. And of course, I think there's this dude. They want to. Utah wants to put themselves in position to possibly get the number 1 overall pick because there's a kid coming from overseas. I think his name is Victor. I can't really say his last name, but they're saying he could be the next. When you see a player, his frame, they're always gonna say, "Oh, that could be the next Kevin Durant." I don't know about that. Kevin Durant is one of one to me, but. Utah wants to put themselves in position to at least have a shot to get that player. So Donovan Mitchell. In my opinion, Jalen Hunter, the host of the Unpopular podcast, in my opinion, there are tiers of stars. And we've talked about this several times. Of course, the superstar and the star. The difference between, here's the thing though. I know that there's a difference between a superstar and a star. Everyone knows the difference. And one thing that I do want to I know this is going to sound a little weird, but a star is a star wherever he goes. A superstar is a star wherever he goes. You can put Steph Curry on Cleveland. No, let me not disrespect Cleveland. You can put Steph Curry on Sacramento Kings. He's still going to be a superstar. No, he may not garnish the same amount of wins and accolades that he has and will do in Golden State. But you put LeBron James on Detroit. He's still a superstar. You put Giannis on Washington. He's still a superstar. Their value doesn't change. Now, yes, the amount of wins that they get, the amount of success that they get will change or could change. I don't think LeBron, if LeBron James was drafted to, I don't know, Washington, I don't think that he would be, I think he'll still be great, but I don't know if he'll have 4 championships. If Steph Curry was drafted to the New York Knicks, I don't think he would have 4 championships. That's just me. When you put a star somewhere or put a superstar somewhere, their value does not change. Yes, again, the winning could change, the accolades could change, but their value doesn't change. Giannis is still going to be Giannis. And that's the difference, and one of the biggest differences between a star and a superstar is if you put a star somewhere, their value changes. So what do I mean by that? Talking about Donovan Mitchell, let's stay on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is not a superstar in my opinion. Donovan Mitchell is not a person where you can place him anywhere and you can win. I'm not saying win at all, but I don't think that Donovan Mitchell has 10, 15 wins attached to his name like a superstar would. I don't think some superstars, of course, have more than 10, 15. Like LeBron James, in my opinion, is about, that's an easy 30 wins. Giannis, maybe an easy 45 wins. Donovan Mitchell doesn't have, 20, 30 wins attached to his name. While he is a star and he is a good player, I don't think he has, 20, 25 wins attached to his name if he goes anywhere else. Same thing for Bradley Beal. Hell, I'm a Wizards fan because I'm from the Maryland, D.C. area. Bradley Beal, you place him on other teams, his value will change. It doesn't mean he's not a star. It doesn't mean Donovan Mitchell's not a star. But you put them on different teams, their value changes. For instance, Bradley Beal's been on Washington for, a while now. He's very valuable for Washington, but his value hasn't matriculated into wins as much, as in playoff wins or playoff appearances like that. Last time we were in the playoffs, I believe, was 2000 when we had Russell Westbrook. Was 2019, 20? So his value might not be as prevalent in Washington when we talk about winning than it would be in Miami. Imagine Bradley Beal in Miami alongside, Bam Adebayo, alongside Jimmy Butler. His value would skyrocket. Or his value maybe for the Lakers. The Lakers need a shooting a 3-and-D player. I don't know about D, but need more of a shooter, more somebody else that can create a shot for themselves. Enter Bradley Beal, bada bing, bada boom. So I feel like I'm beating around the bush at this point. Donovan Mitchell, and it looks like the talks have kind of ceased, but Donovan Mitchell was it was rumored, and it looks like it's from reports they were close to getting. He was close. Utah and the Knicks were close to having a deal that would involve the Knicks getting Donovan Mitchell. I think they would have to give up like Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly. I know there's another player and like 6 first-round picks. And that is why I'm starting this episode off with Donovan Mitchell. One thing that we have to understand. Yes, I understand value is different for different people, different for different teams. But if you're New York, why make that trade? Now, of course, I don't know if they're going to do it. It looks like the Knicks decline, but why would you make that trade? Because it goes back to value. I would understand if it's Kevin Durant. If it's Kevin Durant, then I get that. Now, those 6 draft picks are steep, but I get that if it's Kevin Durant. Also, if you didn't just get Jalen Brunson, I would understand as well. But why make that pick for Donovan Mitchell? And I understand, the cachet, and New York has been hungry for a star. They thought they had one in last time they had a true star, I think, was Melo. They thought they had one in Julius Randle. It kind of seems like New York is ready to get up off him. They thought they had one with Kemba Walker. That didn't last too long. It would be interesting pairing Donovan Mitchell with Jalen Brunson. I would put Donovan Mitchell more at the 2 because, Jalen Brunson, size, both of them size. It would be a pretty small backcourt, but you have the dynamic player in Donovan Mitchell. So I understand, why you would make the trade, but they're asking for a lot. They're saying that Donovan Mitchell is likely to garnish a trade that could involve 6 first-round picks. Look, I love Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is a very exciting player, but 6 first-round picks. You see, one thing that I do want to emphasize, just because one team does something doesn't mean the market has changed. If a poor franchise, a well-known bad franchise makes a bad move, does that mean the market has changed? Because the Timberwolves trade all those freaking draft picks and all those assets for Rudy Gobert after they gave Karl Anthony Towns a max deal, does that mean that now every star has to go for what Rudy Gobert? No, just because a poor and a lack of a better term, a dumb organization does a dumb move, doesn't mean that the landscape has changed. Doesn't mean that the trade market has changed. Why are we letting poor franchises set the market?